I got no sleep. Yesterday we were in Matthew 26 and 28, and according to my Kindle Cloud Reader that just decided to go off, came back. According to my Kindle Cloud Reader, in the table of contents, quick screen share so we can all see what's going on. What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Okay, we are in week 4 of A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year. Today would be, let's see, that would be Monday. This would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hot dog, Exodus. Okay, so we're jumping back to the Old Testament. Today we're going to be reading Exodus 1 through 3. Earlier this week we covered pretty much all of Matthew, well, the second half of Matthew from 16 through 28. Now we're going to go back. What we're going to do right here is go back, way back in time. Da, 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 da. That's Blackstreet. Okay, here we go. I am in the New Testament again, but let me give a quick run through because y'all know I like to give a recap. But this is what we're going to be doing here, Exodus 1 through 3, and I do a quick share of the cover in case anybody is interested in looking at this guide by yourself, maybe to download it or get the hard copy. I'm getting tongue-tied this morning. That's what it looks like. Diane Stewart's A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year. This downloadable book is available as a link in the description, as well as this particular Bible here, New Believer's Bible, which one of my commenters and my YouTube friends was mentioning because, well, not specifically for this Bible, but this is a very modern read. If you've heard me read from this, it's a very easy read. It's like modern English, and it just takes you straight through without getting caught up on a lot of historical words and foreign words and old-timey fashion words, which can be easy. But one of my viewers, she was saying that to say the least, the true meaning of the original text can be quite diluted and vague at times from what was the original, written in Aramaic and Hebrew and probably even the Greek versions before translation after translation. I know a lot of people do debate over that, the controversy of, how real is the Bible and how true is the Bible, and, what Jesus said in the real day and time is probably quite different from what I'm reading here. I do realize that, but as somebody who's trying to get back into reading the Bible and just trying to refamiliarize myself with the faith that I claim, the religion that I claim, I do have this. I don't remember where I got it from, but for me, this is a good start. There are other versions that are closer to the original text, and then if you want to really take your Bible study seriously, you could always study Hebrew and Aramaic, and I think maybe one more, is it Latin maybe? But yeah, so that was one comment that did come up yesterday. I really appreciated that comment, because honestly, sometimes when I'm reading this, I think I've mentioned it in a couple of readings, I'm like, that's not how I remember it being said. But there's so many ways to say something, and through translations and the passage of time and passing on message, it's like that game telephone, where the message can be slightly changed. But as a Christian, I do believe that there is truth in here, and if I study it long enough and pray on it and try to be serious with it, with my studies, then I can find some truth in it. Anyways, let me see. Wow, I better get back to it, because first I had 4 people in here, and now I got no people in here, and 5 people and 1 like. What's that about? Okay, let me give a quick rundown of yesterday, which was pretty much the last half What was it? Oh, I gotta change this up. Okay, so Matthew 26 through 28. This is the recap, y'all. This is the recap. Keiko, come on alive. You might want to go and get yourself together somewhere else. I don't think y'all could see any of that anyways.
What for?
Oh yeah, I was looking for you and the cat ran in the room. All right, let's do a quick recap from yesterday. And that will be 26 through 28. I don't know why my live stream is always so far behind. There we go. Now I can see what y'all see, which is some folks hanging out on the beach in Aruba. All right, chapter 26 was talking about the plot to kill Jesus. Jesus anointed at Bethany. Judas agrees to betray Jesus. The Last Supper. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. Jesus is betrayed and arrested. Peter denies Jesus. And in chapter 27, Judas hangs himself. Jesus' trial before Pilate. The soldiers mock Jesus. The crucifixion. The death of Jesus. The burial of Jesus. The guard at the tomb. And in chapter 28, it finished up with the resurrection, the report of the guard, and the Great Commission. So that's the recap from yesterday. And then today, we're popping back in the New Testament. Exodus, movement for the people. That's Bob Marley. All right, Exodus is about deliverance. This is some commentary at the top. Exodus is about deliverance. The Israelites had moved to Egypt during a famine. Remember Joseph and his journey from being enslaved and from his brothers and going into prison and moving his way up under the Pharaoh. The Israelites had moved to Egypt during a famine. While there, they had been made slaves. Because the Israelites were God's people, he appointed Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and to the promised land, Canaan. On the way there, the Israelites stopped at Mount Sinai, where God gave his people the 10 Commandments. I'm going to sip a little bit more on this hot coffee, and then I'm going to jump into it. It's breaking up. Your lips aren't lagging. Uh-oh. Let me do a little refresh. I'm going to refresh it. I noticed that earlier there's a lag. There might be a lag in the video, but hopefully the audio is okay for the people listening now and on the replay. But I'm gonna refresh it because I closed a bunch of those tabs, but I didn't refresh it at that time. Oh yeah, there's something else going on because it shouldn't take this long to refresh. OBS. Okay, so I'm watching OBS, and it looks like I don't see any more lag on this side, so that should be good. Of course, I can't see my live stream, my chat room anymore. I think it'll take a minute for it to pop up. Whatever's going on with the lag, it's taking my page a minute to refresh. So for anybody coming in at the last minute, or not the last minute coming in, I apologize, but I can't see you right now. until my page finishes up. So I'm gonna start reading in chapter 1 while I wait for my studio. I don't know, maybe you guys can't hear me. Okay, let me stop and let me restart it again. Good grief. Sometimes I feel like Charlie Brown. Okay, here we go. It's coming back. Connect streaming software to start preview. Yeah, I did already. Come on, YouTube. Let's work together. We must stand together. Jason. He knows what that inside joke is from. If he ever pops in on the live stream, that'd be cool. Oh no, why is this taking so long? Alright, I got another window open. Let me pop over here. If you can hear me in the live stream, please give me a number 1. YouTube is not up yet, but I'm watching from another screen, and hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat room so that I can see on this other screen. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffing. Hopefully we're back now. At least I can see my chat room now. Alright, we're going to push through. We're going to push through. Alright, Exodus. The Israelites in Egypt. Okay, thank you. Life of Key says she can hear me. Good, because my dashboard where I'm streaming from, it was kind of frozen. So good to know that you can hear me. Let's jump into chapter 1 of Exodus, movement of Jah people. That's Bob Marley. I said that already. Okay, these are the names of the sons of Israel, that is Jacob, who moved to Egypt with their father, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. In all, Jacob had 70 descendants in Egypt, including Joseph, who was already there. In time, Joseph and all of his brothers died, ending that entire generation. But their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. Eventually, a new king came to power in Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. He said to his people, "Look, the people of Israel now outnumber us and are stronger than we are. We must make a plan to keep them from growing even more. Even if we don't, and if a war breaks out, they will join our enemies and fight against us. Then they will escape from the country." Let's see. So the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor. They forced them to build the cities of Pithom and Ramses as supply centers for the king. But the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread, and the more alarmed the Egyptians became. You know what that reminds me of, right? We don't die, we multiply, we baby's kids. Brownie points for anybody who knows where that came from. Let's see, I got some postscript examples at the bottom. So in verse 1:5, when I said in all, Jacob had 70 descendants, down here it says for the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were manuscripts that were like discovered in a cavern somewhere by the ocean. I don't remember where. Well, the Dead Sea, I guess. This version in Greek reads 75, not 70. And then in verse 110, when it says they will overcome us and escape from the country, it says or will take the country. And now moving on. So the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor. They forced them to build the cities of Pithom and Ramses as supply centers for the king. But the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread, and the more alarmed the Egyptians became. So the Egyptians worked the people of Israel without mercy. They made their lives bitter, forcing them to mix mortar and make bricks and do all the work in the fields. They were ruthless in all their demands. Then Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, gave this order to the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. When you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. Wow. Now that's some devious stuff right there. Oh, look at the folks hanging out at the beach. Hope that's not too distracting. If I was here early enough, they would have just been chilling. But let me know if you guys enjoyed this beach scene. This is from Aruba. A little beach in Aruba called Sandy Dog or something like that. Soggy Dog. I don't remember. But anyways, that's the folks just hanging out there at the beach. Living life in paradise. Man, that's messed up. He told the midwives, and midwives are people that help women deliver babies, bring life into the world. When you watch as they deliver, if the baby is a boy, kill him. If it's a girl, let her live. And of course, he was doing this to try to, what do they call it? Basically, genocide and euthanism. Euthanism? Yeah, trying to cut down on that population. But because the midwives feared God, they refused to obey the king's orders. They allowed the boys to live too. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives. Why have you done this? He demanded. Why have you allowed the boys to live? The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, the midwives replied. They are more vigorous and have their babies so quickly that we cannot get there in time. So God was good to the midwives, and the Israelites continued to multiply, growing more and more powerful. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: throw every newborn Hebrew boy into the Nile River, but you may let the girls live. Evil, evil. The wheel says morning. Good morning. Now the birth of Moses. About this time, a man and woman from the tribe of Levi got married. This is chapter 2. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She saw that he was a special baby and kept him hidden for 3 months. Now, I wonder, does she mean special as in, oh no, it's a boy, there's this order out that all the boys have to die, or special in some other way? I think all mamas think their babies are special when they're born, right? But in either case, the woman became pregnant, gave birth to a son. She saw that he was a special baby and kept him hidden for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a basket made out of papyrus, reeds, and waterproofed it with tar and pitch. She put the baby in the basket and laid it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile River. The baby's sister then stood at a distance, watching to see what would happen. Oh, so he had a big sister. Soon Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe in the river, and her attendees walked along the riverbank. When the princess saw the basket among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it for her. When the princess opened it, she saw the baby. The little boy was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This must be one of the Hebrew children," she said. Then the baby's sister approached the princess. "Should I go and find one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" she asked. Oh, smart little girl. That's her little brother. "Yes, do," the princess replied. So the girl went and called the baby's mother. Her mama. "Take this baby and nurse him for me," the princess told the baby's mother. "I will pay you for your help." So the woman took her baby home and nursed him. Later, when the boy was older, his mother brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted him as her own son. The princess named him Moses, for she explained, "I lifted him out of the water." Now, verse 11, Moses escapes to Midian. Many years later, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his own people, the Hebrews, and he saw how hard they were forced to work. During his visit, he saw an Egyptian beating one of his fellow Hebrews. After looking in all directions to make sure no one was watching, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. The next day, when Moses went out to visit his people again, he saw two Hebrew men fighting. "Why are you beating up your friend?" Moses said to the one who had started the fight. The man replied, "Who appointed you to be our prince and judge? Are you going to kill me as you killed that Egyptian yesterday?" Then Moses was afraid, thinking, "Everyone knows what I did." And sure enough, Pharaoh heard what had happened, and he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian. When Moses arrived in Midian, he sat down beside a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters who came as usual to draw water and fill the water troughs for their father's flocks. But some other shepherds came and chased them away. So Moses jumped up and rescued the girls from the shepherds. Then he drew water for their flocks. Now what did they do that for? Were they just teasing them, or did they not want them there? When the girls returned to Reuel, their father, he asked, "Why are you back so soon today?" "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds," they answered, "and then he drew water for us and watered our flocks." "Then where is he?" their father asked. "Why did you leave him there? Invite him to come and eat with us." Moses accepted the invitation, and he settled there with him. In time, Reuel gave Moses his daughter Zipporah to be his wife. Later she gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, for he explained, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." Years passed, and the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites continued to groan under their burden of slavery. They cried out for help, and their cry rose up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He looked down on the people of Israel and knew it was time to act. And I got a little star, a little asterisk here, so let me read down in the postscript. That last part that I read was chapter 2, verse 25. What does it say here? Or acknowledged his obligations to help him. All right, so let me read that. Okay, God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He looked down on the people of Israel and acknowledged his obligation to help them. Now, chapter 3. And welcome to the live stream. All who are here, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on your way in. Moses and the burning bush is how we start off in chapter 3. One day, Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro. Jethro? What happened to, is that what the guy's name was? I thought it was Raul or something. Okay, when the girls returned to Reuel, okay. Hold on. One day, Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro. There's a little asterisk. Read down here. Moses' father-in-law went by 2 names, Jethro and Reuel. Okay, let me know. Because I'm like, how did he get somebody else? All right. So the guy had, maybe one was a nickname. All right. He was tending Jethro's flock, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. "This is amazing," Moses said to himself. "Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go see it." When the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, "Moses, Moses." "Here I am," Moses replied. "Do not come any closer," the Lord warned. "Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, "I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. Look, The cry of the people of Israel has reached me, and I have seen how harshly the Egyptians abuse them. Now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt." But Moses protested to God. Really? Seriously, dude? After all of that, you protest? Moses protested to God, "Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people out of Israel out of Egypt?" God answered, "I will be with you, and this is your sign, that I am the one who has sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain." But Moses protested again. "If I go to the people of Israel and tell them, 'The God of your ancestors has sent me to you,' they will ask me, 'What is his name?' Then what should I tell them?" God replied to Moses, "I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, 'I am has sent me to you.'" God also said to Moses, "Say this to the people of Israel, 'Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my eternal name, my name to remember for all generations. Now go and call together all the elders of Israel. Tell them, the Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to me. He told me, 'I have been watching closely, and I see how the Egyptians are treating you. I have promised to rescue you from your oppression in Egypt. I will lead you to a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. The elders of Israel will accept your message. Then you and the elders must go to the king of Egypt and tell him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. So please, let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand forces him. So I will raise my hand and strike the Egyptians, performing all kinds of miracles among them. Then at last he will let you go. And I will cause the Egyptians to look favorably on you. They will give you gifts when you go, so you will not leave empty-handed. Every Israelite woman will ask for the articles of silver and gold and fine clothing from her Egyptian neighbors and from the foreign women in their houses. You will dress your sons and daughters with these, stripping the Egyptians of their wealth." And now, chapter 4. I never did change the title here. Let me make sure I'm staying on track, you guys. Just meditate on those last bits of verses. God speaking to Moses, and Moses is protesting. I mean, come on. I mean, I guess he had a low self-esteem, no doubt. I think I'm done. Yes, I'm done. Exodus 1 through 3. I'm going to update this title really quick because that's what it was supposed to be. We are no longer in Matthew. So let me change this real quick before I save it, because I don't want anybody watching the replay to be like, okay, where's the next part? Exodus 1 through 3, and I'll change it down in the description. This was a quick read, wasn't it? Today was a quick read. Maybe it's just me. Exodus 1 through 3. Oh yeah, this was a quick read because that's my alarm to take my daughter to school, and usually that has already gone on by now. And save. That wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what I am gonna do? Because yesterday there was like a little cornerstone message, and I was asking, which one should I read, this one or this one? And my friend Renee was like, read both. And I didn't want to read both because I was running late for time. So I read one of the cornerstones, which was, one of the cornerstones was, do we get fulfillment out of helping other people? Which is yes, and this is why. When we learn to love others and do for others and help other people out, that's where we get true fulfillment from. And then the other one was, what was that other one? Like, I think it was something like, will we recognize people in heaven? So since I have a little bit time today, since this particular reading was kind of short, I'm going to go ahead and read that other cornerstone from yesterday, which should be in Matthew 26. Yes. So what I read yesterday to finish this up was, we will find happiness in loving God and serving others. And the other cornerstone, which was just on the other page, will we recognize people in heaven? And this was talking about the death of Jesus, the burial of Jesus, the resurrection of Jesus, and that's why they were talking about heaven there. And as soon as I finish up this cornerstone, we're going to be heading out. Oh, I can't help you with that. I don't know. Cornerstones. Will we recognize people in heaven? And this is from Matthew 22, 23, and 33 from yesterday's reading. You were early this morning. Sorry, I only got a little bit. No problem, the wins, because you can always hit the replay. You can always hit the replay. But yeah, I tried to get started a little bit early today, and I was successful with starting on time. All right, will we recognize people in heaven? Read Matthew 22, 23 through 33, and this is the cornerstone message. A number of people in Jesus' day had some aberrant views of life after death. The particular group of religious leaders mentioned here. What happened? Oh, I'm choking on my own saliva. The Sadducees did not believe in life beyond the grave. So when Jesus answered the question they tested him with, he immediately addressed the error of their teaching. Your mistake is that you don't know the scriptures and you don't know the power of God. That was in verse 29 of Matthew 22. In refuting the error and arrogance of the Sadducees, Jesus revealed these 3 insights about life in heaven. 1. We will not be married. We will not participate in the same activities we do now, such as marriage and family life. It would appear that the majority of our time will be spent worshiping God. 2. We will recognize one another. Jesus said that we will be as the angels. We won't become angels, but we will probably have some of the same capabilities and characteristics. We will actually have a real resurrected body. While no specific passage of Scripture guarantees that we will recognize one another in heaven, many verses suggest that we will. Jesus' disciples were able to recognize his resurrected body, and in the parable of Lazarus and the rich man, both men retained their identity. The Bible also says that we will have increased knowledge in heaven. Now we see things imperfectly. Right now, we see things imperfectly as in a cloudy mirror. But then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete. But then I will know everything completely, just as God knows me completely. With that kind of knowledge, we will probably recognize more people in heaven than we do here on earth. And number 3, we will have a distinct personality. Notice that at the end of the text, Jesus refers to the Old Testament passage that says, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Not only does this verse give great proof for a bodily resurrection, but it also refers to these men by name. When we read that God writes our names in the book of life, it indicates that we are distinct personalities in heaven. God didn't write a number, he wrote your name. Someday in the blink of an eye, Christ will call us home to heaven, and our bodies will be transformed into immortal bodies. That is a reference to 1 Corinthians 15, 50 through 53. And to live forever in our current bodies would be a curse. But to live forever in new bodies, free from sickness and pain, in the presence of God will be a blessing. For the next note on what is heaven, turn to page 1160. That's it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Exodus chapters 1 through 3. I do appreciate the time that you all took to come and sit with me on the live stream. And if you're listening to this, can you get her down from this so she can stop meowing? If you're listening to this on the replay, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on the replay. It's just as valuable on the replay as it is on the live stream, and lets YouTube know what a fine job I'm doing. So, on that note, I will see you all tomorrow morning for, tomorrow morning we'll be reading Exodus 4 through 6. And yeah, so thank you for joining me on Entrepreneur Drive 40. Entrepreneur Drive. I'm tired today. Entrepreneur Drive 40. Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive 40. Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. Oh.